Hey, what up, guys? It's me again, and welcome to This Is My Moment podcast. I'm your host, Patrick Mitchell, and here at This Is My Moment, we love to have a good time. We love to see you smile, and we love meeting new people. And oh yeah, it's season 2, baby. Let's go get it.
There ain't no stopping it, this is my moment. Join the movement, we bringing people together, bringing positivity, making changes for the better, cause it's all about.
Today, man, I was just chopping it up with dude off screen, man, and he got the same kind of feel I got. A lot of background that I read up on him. I'm gonna see what's shaking on this one. Introduce yourself to the family.
What's going on, man? My name is David Kitchen. Everybody calls me Kitch outside of my mother and my grandmother. They use the government name, so we'll drop that later. But I'm the founder and president of Edge Leadership Academy, and I'm sure we'll get into how that came to be and everything.
Yes,
but I'm just fired up to be here, man. I'm excited to have a conversation with you, just chop it up.
Hey, just like always, man, I tell everybody, man, appreciate you. Thanks for coming on and just be yourself, man. Sit back, take your shoes off. Let's have it. I was reading up on you, and I saw that sports in college, athlete, coach. Did you play? You play ball in school, man?
I did. I played football. I had the opportunity to play college football, man. One of the few that gets the opportunity, so I never overlooked that. But yeah, man, yeah, it's born and bred, man. I grew up in a town where it was God family football, man. There's literally a sign that says that when you pull into town.
Brother, what position you play, man?
I played offensive line, so I got recruited out of high school to play defensive line. Ended up blowing my knee my junior year, going into my senior year of high school. So I lost all my offers and ended up playing at a small Division III school. And here's the kicker, bro. I never started a game, man. I came in as the #1 recruit on the board. I never started a game in my 4-year career.
Wow. I tell you what, man. And this is not even into the question. When I realized that you play ball, I love football, man. I love that football, man. I love that basketball, man. I love coaching. That's my thing. But I love talking to athletes, right? And I say this. You went to D3, man, and that's not a knock on D3, not a knock on none of that JUCO, none of them things, man, because some of the same cats that was in front of you didn't even go. So you was already winning. It's just
100%.
you already winning, man, because it's I'm a Texas boy. And down here in Texas, man, the city closed down when it's Friday night lights. It ain't no question. And man, just to have that feeling, man, and then going to college and doing something that you love to do, man, congratulations, man. And I hope you look back on it like, you know what? This is what I learned. The knee thing happens, but man, good for you, G. Good for you. Give me one, and this is not on the thing, man. One memorable moment, man, that you can remember. Like, you know what? This was my day right here, man. Give me one from your sports time, man. What was your day, man?
Probably in high school, man. So we had a huge rivalry game. We were ranked #4 in the state. They were #2. They had beat us the year before going into the state. We were in the state semifinals, and they beat us to go to states. They ended up winning the state championship. So they had to come to our place this year. So it was my senior year, and I was playing defensive end. And boy, it was one of those games, man, where you just bite down on your mouthpiece and you just go. And about 12,000 people in the stands. I mean, it's packed out. And first 3 plays of the game, man, I had a tackle for loss. 3 in a row. Bang, bang, bang. Boy, I have never been that excited in my life. I remember my coach yelling at me because after the third one, I got up and I hit him with the roll the dice celebration. I was fired up, man. That was one of my favorite memories from football, man. Just one of those moments where you look at it, you were like, I was in my bag. Like I was doing my thing right there. So it was, yeah, man, that was probably my highlight for me. That was like, this is big time, man. Like I'm back.
I like that, brother. Hey, I tell you what, too, man. You know them tackle for losses, man. I mean, you getting it back there quick. You get it back there quick.
It was beautiful, man. They came at me and they had been running that same play all year. We saw it on film. We knew it was coming. And first play of the game, they came out and hit it. And I don't know. I mean, I just saw it. I knew it was coming. Boom. I said, oh, okay, here we go. They tried it again. And I was like, boom, here we go. So the third play, they came around the edge. I got off my block, saw the dude, he saw me, he tried to give me a little shimmy, and I got him by the ankle and just yanked him up, and I was like, all right, like, let's go 3 and out, baby, let's roll.
Yeah. I bring your punt team in, coach. We done here. Yeah.
Exactly, man,
I
exactly.
like that, man. Hey, so that ain't got nothing to do with what we talk about, man. But when I realized that, man, I had to ask, man. That's what's up, man. You mentioned it earlier. Edge Leadership Academy. Give me a little bit, man. Talk to me. What's that?
So it's a business that I launched. We're in our 3rd year now. After I transitioned out of coaching, so our mission is simple, man. Our mission is to arm as many people as possible with the skills that it takes to be leaders, and we want to see people win in business, athletics, relationships, life. Like, no matter what, you are a leader in some sort, whether it's in your community, in your household, wherever it is. So those skills are so vital. And so what we do on a basic, 30,000 foot view is we travel the country, we host workshops, and we work with athletic teams, we work with corporations, we work with private organizations, nonprofits, all across the board, everything from like high school kids up to multi-million-dollar CEOs and C-suite executives, entrepreneurs. And we teach these lessons. We teach leadership. We teach how to build teams, how to build culture within your organization. And then we also do a lot of work with like high performing people. So anybody that's just looking to be the best version of themselves, we got a high performance network that we get together, and we have a mentorship group called The Table, where we bring people, and we say all the time, everybody wants to bring something to it. Everybody wants a seat at it. Well, we got your table, come sit down. Let's chop it up. Let's learn. And so that's what we do. I mean, that's the key to it. Our vision is long-term. We want to be the driving force behind people's success. And the reason for that is, like, as I moved up in levels and I got the opportunity to be around NFL athletes and high level coaches and $1 million sponsors and boosters. I guess they're called technically like sponsors now. Back in the day, they were boosters. But you get around these business people, and what I realized, man, is that success is not reserved for the special people. It's available to everybody. It's just learning the right systems and processes and shifting your mindset to get there. And so that's what we're looking to do, is just remove that barrier for people, whatever it is that's holding you back. That's what we want. We want to see people learn, grow, execute, and become the best version of yourself.
That's what's up, man. And I'm a mindset guy too, man. I'm a mindset guy because I think sometimes we can be our own worst enemy, man. Like, you could have it going, right? Like, you can have it going, but you can't get out of your own way. That's what we used to call it, man. You got to get out of your own way in order to advance, man, and helping people learn that and achieve that good on you, man. But let me ask you this. What got you started into that? Because helping people, right, means that they have to look at the negative side of what they got going on. Like, that weakness, we got to make that weakness a strength, right? And that's the only way that you can advance. What got you into starting down that path of mindset shift into that leadership success? What got you going?
Yeah, so I spent 10 years as a college strength and conditioning coach. Had the opportunity to coach at Division I, and one of the few people to coach in both men's basketball and football in the show and the big time D1, and had the opportunity to do that. But so I always had this background of psychology. I had a master's in sports psych. I'm working on my PhD now in psychology, and so I've always had this obsession with like how the mind works and that kind of deal. And then obviously tied with the strength and conditioning piece, you're teaching people to get obsessed with the process. That's literally the definition of the job, because you're not going to get strong or powerful in one day. So I have to teach people to get obsessed with the process. And so I combined those two things. And then the light bulb moment was, I had a kid come in my office. He's not a kid, he's a grown man. He's making a lot of money playing in sport now. So I hope you don't get too mad at me for calling him a kid on here, because he got a bigger bank account than me. But he came in my office his senior year, and he was the best leader I ever coached, hands down. And he said, he was frustrated. He said, "Coach, my whole life I've been the best player on every team I've ever been on. Everybody's always telling me to lead. Nobody ever taught me how." And that was like, boom, like that was it. That was the light bulb moment for me. So I was like, oh, okay, like, if this kid doesn't feel ready to lead, then who does? Because from my opinion, he's a great leader, but he doesn't understand that. And he doesn't have a process behind it that's repeatable and a system that he can analyze and say, okay, here's what I'm doing right, here's what I'm doing wrong. And I grew up in a household, man, single parent household. So I
Yeah.
grew up with mama and grandma, and
Yeah.
listen, you don't complain in my house unless you have a solution. And so I wasn't going to complain about this. It was, I'm going to be the solution. And so that's where Edge
Yeah.
leadership came from, man. It was,
Yeah.
I heard it across the board. We need more leaders. We want people to lead. We need people to do this, do that. And I'm like, okay, I'm going to be the one to teach these skills.
Yeah, brother. I'm gonna tell you what, man. I am 100% with you. I believe that in order to be the change I want to see, I need to be the change I want to see. And you can't tell me you need more leaders and then me just say, yeah, right? If we want that, why not start with me? Why I can't be that? I know, okay. And you're right, man. This young kid coming there and he like, coach, that took a lot of guts on his end to tell you, like, I'm supposed to be the truth. And I ain't feeling like it. I need you to help me. That right there to me, man, was a huge step for him. And you're right, that light bulb eye opener for you, like, you know what? If this cat is as good as he is and he feels this way, I wonder what those other cats feel like.
Crazy part was, man, so as I started to do this,
Yeah.
I then started to talk to people in business, and I realized I was hearing the same thing in business. I was hearing senior managers and C-suite executives that are like, I don't know, they have the HR manual of how to lead, but they don't know what leadership is and what it looks like. And I heard people talking about it in their families. Like, how do I lead? I'm a 28, 29-year-old kid, especially my friends at the time. And they're like, I remember them talking to me like, dude, I'm having a baby. Like, how do I lead my household? Yeah. And so I realized like, oh, this is not a sports problem. This is an everybody problem. Yeah. And, as a business mind, now you're like, oh, okay, this is a business.
It opened up. Man, and you know what though, man? I think that the best thing is for people to understand that they do need assistance. Sometimes we get so caught up in not wanting to ask for help that we miss out on opportunities for growth and development and prosperity just for the sake of pride. And when you offering these things to these people, man, and you looking at them and you teaching them and you give them these slides, man, and you PowerPoint them and you point them in here, then you see they facing that and they got that aha moment. You like, I got him. I got him.
That's what it's about. That's what it's about. Like when I get phone calls from people and they're like, dude, I did this part of my life leveled up, these things leveled up. I'm like, yes, you got it. Like you locked in on that, and I tell people up front when we do our workshops, man, I tell them I'm not a guru. I'm not going to stand up here and give you 5 tips to win life. What I'm going to do is I'm going to invite you to engage in your process. And I'm going to give you the steps along the way. If you can do that, if you can engage in your process and get obsessed with your process, you're going to win, period.
I'm going to tell you what, you got something, brother. You got something, and you might be hearing from me on the business side because I got an idea.
Hey, I'm always open to chop it up, man.
So we talked about sports earlier, and I'm going to touch on this a little bit. You were in college for 10 years, strength conditioning, one of the youngest at the time D1 coaches. How did that feel playing ball in school and then getting the opportunity to go out and coach like at a D1 level? Because it's different, man. Like, and I hate to say this, but growing up, you always hear your Dukes, your Kentuckys, like those big schools, and those are the ones as a coach, like you want to be the Coach K's. You know what I mean? You want to be the Bobby Knights. Like you want that, right? How did it feel being a young cat, right, and doing it for that long at that level, man? How did that feel, man?
Man, it was crazy, and there were moments where it was surreal. There were moments where it was like here's a perfect example. I remember we were running out. We were playing Ohio State. It was week 2, I believe. So we're in the horseshoe. My whole family's there. I'm an East Coast guy. Like my whole family is there, and I'm running out onto the field, and I stopped. And I don't know why I stopped, but I'm like looking around, and it was like, oh man, like I'm here, And my boss came up behind me. He was the director of strength and conditioning, and he came up behind me, and I was like, oh my bad. And he's like, no. And he stopped me because he played in the NFL. He stopped me and he said, take a second, take this in because you'll never forget this.
Take it in.
Man, yeah, it was surreal. I mean, there were moments like, I'm from rural Pennsylvania. I'm a small town guy. And all of a sudden at 24, 25, I was 25 years old when I went to Division I. I'm flying on private jets. I'm eating at 5-star restaurants. I'm again coaching. I'm coaching against USC. I'm coaching against Ohio State. I'm flying to Hawaii. I'm doing all these things, and it's like, how did this happen? Like,
Yeah.
You take that second back and take that step back, and especially at my age, because you meet other coaches,
Yeah.
and you look at dudes that are 35, 40,
Yeah.
and they're battling to try and get to where you are at 25. And it puts this pressure on you. It puts this feeling of like, I can't fumble this.
Yeah.
Because there's people that battle their whole lives to get this opportunity.
Yeah.
And so on my board, on my whiteboard in every office that I had written down the number of Division I schools there were in the country, because I knew that that's how many people. I think it was 148 Division I schools in football.
Yeah.
That means there's 148 people in the country that have this opportunity. And I wrote underneath it, earn it.
Yeah.
Every day you got to earn the right to stay there. Because there's people that will chew an arm and a leg off to try and get your job.
That brother, I tell you what, too, man, and it's nothing like feeling that breath on the back of your neck to keep you humble and keep you motivated, boy. Because to me, I think coaches are expendable. And I hate to say that, but as easy as they can get you, they can get somebody else. And we see it in sports all the time, man. And I'm not a big fan of like coaches getting fired for losing, because a lot of times, man, you didn't drop the ball, you didn't miss the layup, you know what I mean? Like, but you are the first, you the first person in front of the gun, you know what I mean? And you take that responsibility because you know what it is. But man, like you being a young cat, man, and doing it for that long, man, and knowing that it's only 148. So what about number 149? He looking for somebody.
And that was the thing. Like, so that was the thing for me. It was like, go to bed every night feeling like you're number one, but then wake up feeling like you're number two. You know what I'm saying? So it's like you have to. So I made this thing in my mind, like, I'm just not going to be outworked. Period. Because that's what I can control. I can't control the politics of the game. I can't control other things. What I can control is that I'll be the first one in the office. I will be the last one out. I can control that. And I can control that I'm going to pour everything I have into these young men and young women that I get the opportunity to coach. And that I am going to give everything that I have to prepare them to win in athletics and win in life. I can control that. That's on me.
And you know what, man? I am that believer. I had a year ago, it's been a year ago now, 2021 was my last season. And I was a high school basketball coach, man. We ended up winning state, man, and a coach of the year, all this stuff, man. And I said, you know what's funny? What's more fulfilling to me than winning is seeing these young men and women succeed after they leave. So no matter what happens on that court, on that hardwood, on that gridiron, no matter what happens, when you're successful as a human being, you did something to it. You did something.
That's exactly it, man. And I always say, and I've said this in every recruiting speech that I've ever given, when kids come and visit with the strength coach, they come see me. I tell them all, look around my office. What do you not see in here that you've seen in every other coach's office? Answer's always the same: championship rings. I said, right. It's not because I didn't win them. I have. I've been fortunate enough to win some championships. Relationships are more important than rings. So what you'll see in my office are wedding invitations. You'll see pictures of me with my former players. You'll see pictures of my former players' families. That's what you'll see in my office. There's even right now, I mean, there's one championship ring on that shelf back there. I coached for 10 years. I won probably across the board, I don't know, maybe 12, 13 of them. And I got one on that shelf. And so I don't, to me, it was always about the relationships. It was about the people. And even now as a business owner, like I talk all the time, one of our pillars of our company, and I tell my team this all the time, is connection before content. We're not going to get up there and just talk to people. Like, we need to speak to their soul. Yeah, I want to get to know you. I want to know what's important to you. Like, it's connection before content. So yeah, man, it's the people game. It's relationships.
It is. And you know what, man? A lot of times when you do build that connection, and this is what I've seen because I've had it happen, once you build that connection and you genuinely want to know the people that you're talking to and that you're working with and that you're working for, man, they'll run through a wall for you. Like all of a sudden, just because you've shown a genuine interest in who they are, not because of what they do. Now, man, you can effort and energy from these cats that they didn't even know they had because now they know that you believing in them, right? And I tell people all the time, man, you have to be genuine, and people see through that BS is what I call. Man, you see through it, but when I genuinely want the best for you, now you're starting to understand it, and now you're starting to level up to where I want you to be. So, man, you got something, G. But let me ask you this. You're not doing the sports and strengthening no more. You took a chance on yourself. How hard was leaving the game that you grew up with to start your own business?
It was extremely hard. It was extremely hard. And, it was so my contract was up. I was at Georgia Southern University working with men's basketball. We just came off 22-win season. We were on the bus, man, on the bus going to the airport to fly to the tournament, and COVID hit. And COVID hit. So they shut it down. And so that's one of the biggest what ifs in my career because we were playing good basketball. I mean, we were playing good basketball.
Peaking at the right time.
Yeah, it was special, man. We were on a ride at that point. And so the head coach ended up taking another position. He called and asked me if I'd like to go. I said, I don't know. Go ahead and you go on with your search and find somebody else because I don't know what I want to do yet. And so they brought a new head coach in. I stayed for the summer to help him with the transition. At the end of summer, he asked me for, if I wanted a contract extension. He came in his office, we met, and it was like a scene from a movie, man, where something comes over you and you're just like, I can't sign this.
Yeah.
I can't do it. And so I didn't, I said, Coach, can I have 24 hours? And at that level, man, Division I, asking for 24 hours that's a big ask.
That's a week.
That's a big ask. And, so it's, I sat down and just did some soul searching. And I said, you know what, I think I'm going to go and launch this business. I think it's time for me to get out of this and do something different. And get out of the Division I lifestyle. I'd missed so much too, and moving and missing my family and all this stuff. And so, it was difficult, but at the same time, it reflected so many other things that I had done in my life where it's like, I always say the safest bet is always bet on you. Like,
already.
That's just who I am. It's who I've always been. Like, if you look at my career, even in coaching, the steps that I took, there was always people saying you're doing the wrong thing. You're making the wrong move here. And I was always like, no, I'm going to bet on me because I can make this work. And it led to, the situations that I was fortunate enough to be in. And so it was hard. It was extremely difficult because you're a beginner again, and from the ego standpoint, that's the thing that people don't talk about. It's the ego.
Yeah.
So I'm walking away from, again, private jets, eating in nice restaurants, free gear. Everybody knows who you are. You're on ESPN every weekend. Now I'm starting from zero. I'm starting over. I'm leaving everything behind. I'm walking into a game that I've never played before because now I'm an entrepreneur. Now I'm a business, and there's no safety net there. And so that was the part that I had to work through in my mind of like, okay, man, if you're gonna bet on yourself, then you got to go all in, push the chips on the table and see what you got. And I've been fortunate enough to be able to still stay involved in strength and conditioning, and still I had a gym for a short time. I've coached at some smaller schools, Division III schools. I had the opportunity to coach at my alma mater, go back to my D3 school, coach there. So I still did it on the side. But the decision to walk away from the rise that I was on, it was tough, and it left a lot of people scratching their heads, man. It left a lot of people looking at me like, "Oh, what are you doing?" Like, you're walking away. You're 22. You just had a 22-win season. You've now proven that you can win in basketball and football.
Yeah,
you're 26 years old, 27 years old. Like,
come on,
you're next in line, man. Like, you're about to be there, and it just didn't sit right with my soul. And so I said, you know what, man, let's bet on me, and let's see what happens.
And I tell you what, man, it takes strong character, brother, to jump off when you heading up, to bet on yourself. So, man, good for you for having the will to bet on yourself. Because I tell you what, man, entrepreneurship, it ain't for the weak. It'll have you back at a regular job quick. It'll do it to you. When things wasn't going well, when you first started your business, it wasn't going the best. How did you stay motivated, man? How did you stay positive?
Man, it was, it's something that I still work through. I mean, like you just said, people don't talk about the dark side of entrepreneurship. Like people, you go on social media, you see, guys driving supercars and wearing their chains, and doing this and doing that, and they're talking to you from a private jet. And it's like, yeah, but there's also a lot of days and nights where you're alone and there's nobody there, because if you don't get it done, nobody's going to do it. It's your business.
Yeah.
And so, there are those moments. And so for me, when things weren't going wrong or weren't going right, I remember looking at my bank account and it said, negative $300 or some dollars. And I'm like, man, all right. So you know what I did? I took a screenshot of it and I said to myself, never again, dude. Which is just not going to happen, And so for me, when things are not going right and when things are starting to go sideways, I look back at my systems. I try and find what in my life is off that's giving me these results, because it's your habits are perfectly designed to give you whatever results you're getting, right? And so when something's off in my life, whether it's financially, whether it's relationships, whatever, if the business isn't growing at the right rate, then I step back and I look at it and I say, okay, which one of my habits is not right? Something's not right here. And what is it? Does it mean that I have to upskill something? Does it mean that I have to make more connections? Does it mean that I have to do better in this? Whatever it is, that was always my thing, was instead of getting emotionally attached to the result that I'm getting in this moment, it's getting analytical with it and getting reflective on it and asking myself, okay, what inputs are giving me this output? And so that's kind of how I stay positive, was creating that space, and I'm not going to stand here and say it was easy, man. Listen, there was a point when I had the gym and I had the business running where I was having panic attacks. I got diagnosed with depression, anxiety. I mean, I was a mess, man. I almost lost everything. And so, I'm not going to preach from a mountaintop and say, man, this is just what you got to do. But it's finding space in yourself. And again, just remember in the process. Don't get so obsessed with the result in the moment. Just focus back on your process, take that step back, remove yourself emotionally from it, and realize too that your value is not your net worth. Like your value as a human, you know what I'm saying? And that's tough too, because when you're an entrepreneur, that business is an extension of you. That's your baby, right?
Yeah, it is.
You got to be able to remove yourself a little bit and say, okay, it's what I do. It's not who I am.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. All day long. I stand by it. I am a firm believer in who I am and what I do is two different things. And I had a young cat, man, on the show, and I told him this. The funny thing is, I would do business with people that I wouldn't invite to my house. So you got to understand who you are and what you do is two different entities of the same corporation. David, man, I had a phenomenal time, G. You spot on, man. This is probably one of my best shows, man, that I've had so far, man. So thank you. But now we finna get into the fun part, G. So I started last season, man, and I started playing this game with people, and I didn't have a name for it. I was just kind of saying it. This year, man, I was like, you know what? I'm gonna call it Pick One. So now I want people to know, look, you gotta choose. So you ready to rock?
I'm ready, man.
All right, here you go. Basketball or football? Pick one.
Football, that's my heart.
That's mine too. You have one thing to tell a person for them to be successful. What do you tell them? One sentence.
Show me your character, I'll show you your future.
I give you the phrase, this is my moment. First thing comes to mind.
Take advantage.
Yes, sir.
Go.
You might not get this opportunity again. Do it.
That's it.
Hey, man, we done, brother.
This was awesome, man. Thank you so much for having me. This was a blast. This was one of the most fun ones I've done.
Hey, guys, David said it, man. Engage in the process. And you ain't got no option but to win. Enjoy it, love it, relish it, man. And then at the end of the day, go get it.
Join the movement, we bringing people together, bringing positivity, making changes for the better. Cause it's all about growth, all about success. We wanna see you rise, wanna see you at your best.